The U.S. is now pausing payments temporarily to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, in Gaza after the UN fired 12 staffers over their alleged involvement in the October 7th attacks. But is it too late? The U.S. is the biggest donor to the agency, sending $296 million last year alone and nearly $1 billion since Biden took office and resumed payments after Donald Trump had stopped them in 2018. Here to react is Senior VP for Research at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy's Jonathan Schanzer. Jonathan, thanks for being here. So we should note that Donald Trump stopped these payments for a reason. So we knew this agency was involved in nefarious work. Now it's revealed potentially involved in the terrorist attack. Break it down for us.
Sure. Well, it turns out the Israelis have been collecting intelligence on this group since the 10/7 attack. It looks like there are about a dozen people that were involved in the murders that took place on October 7th. The Israelis have been actually talking to some of the people that they arrested on that day and some of the fighters that they pulled out of Gaza, where they've learned more and more about how this organization was directly involved in Hamas attacks. This, of course, is not anything new for folks that have been watching this agency. Over the years, we've seen that there have been Hamas fighters firing rockets from within the compounds of the schools and hospitals that they run. There are tunnels that snake below. There's weapons storage facilities that they have within these buildings as well. So the Israelis have been on top of this for a long time. Obviously, the Trump administration as well. There was a series of tweets that Mike Pompeo put out in the waning days of the Trump administration, warning of how corrupt and nefarious this organization was, and no one seemed to care. Over the last 2 or 3 years, that bill has obviously come due. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, it must have been evident enough, the intelligence there, if the Trump administration stopped funding. We knew this, that if UNRWA is able to operate inside the Gaza Strip or elsewhere, they're doing so at the behest of Hamas. And what they must have seen is that they've become an extension of that. So much of an extension of that they're willing to take part in terrorist attacks on October 7th. They say they're going to pause funding. Do you believe that? Or do you think there'll be a permanent stop? Or are we going to go back to funding the people that attack our friends? Look, I think it all really depends on how much evidence the Israelis are willing to make public. Right now, we haven't actually seen what they've seen. I think a huge amount of this is really going to hinge on whether the Israelis are willing to declassify that intelligence. And then on top of that, I think the Israelis are probably, if I'm reading the tea leaves right, they're going to release more information about what this organization has been doing over the years, the way that they've taught the kids, beginning at age 4 or 5, to hate the Israelis, to talk about martyrdom and jihad, and the way that they cast the Israelis as enemies. So it's an education problem, it's a funding problem, it's a terrorism problem. Hopefully this is all going to be laid bare, and there'll be other agencies that can step in. It's not like UNRWA has to be the only agency that does this. There are plenty of other groups within the UN that could probably do it better without the violence, without the corruption, without the Hamas connections.
And there's plenty of countries also, especially in the Muslim Middle East, that could fund these things as well if they had so much compassion for the people being affected. Yet it seems to be us who's always footing the bill, and then we're footing the bill for schools that teach young kids to hate the West, America, and Israel. Jonathan Schanzer, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.